Hey guys, everyone's favourite local Traptrix player here. Today, I'll be discussing our Archtype's primary weakness, going second, as well as highlighting ways to overcome and play around it. This can range from hand traps, mini engines such as Kashtira, and dual-use cards like Superpoly to capitalising on our Archtype's strengths, including the flexible extra deck, as you'll see in the video. For the record, this does not include hoping you always win the dice roll. Anyway, let's dive in. I hope this is enjoyable and informative and that it helps you all with deck design. For now, let's go. So why does Traptrix struggle going second? Primarily, it's our reliance on normal summoning. Basically, if it's stopped, we don't get to Sarah. No Sarah means no Traptrix. This, in turn, makes us vulnerable to quick effect pops such as Rise Eel Detonator, strong floodgates like Winder backed up by a few negates, or just boards in general. And additionally, it means no follow-up, which really hurts if you run into a deck that hard counters us like Sky Striker. There's other weaknesses like the growing trend towards archetypes playing on your turn, blowouts, and the fact we are a control deck that wants to go first, but ultimately it's the normal summon succeeding. So, what can we do about it? Well, pay attention for more. One of the main strengths of Traptrix is that as an archetype, we are very simple to play. Most hands will result in, at worst case, going into Sarah, setting a few in pass, or if you go and play right, you'll go combo, get advantage off Sarah, get rid of your opponent's stuff, and then set a few cards on top. And over the course of a long day, that simplicity will win you games. But the biggest strength of our deck, if I haven't already made it obvious, is Traptrix Sarah herself. She's the heart and soul of Traptrix. You get her to the field, you will start winning games. She generates advantage off of normal traps, off of Traptrix monsters. She's just a snowball of a card. But assuming your normal summon is interrupted, what are ways to get to her? Well, one of the best going second tools that we have, and also a combo starter if you go first, is Traptrix Garden and its searcher Boudica. Basically, let's say if your first normal summon is negated or popped, you can then activate this, giving yourself another normal summon. You then summon your additional Traptrix monster, link off into Sarah, and then do your plays as you were originally going to do. Or alternatively, you can banish said monster to revive another Trix monster, activate its effect, which will then trigger Sarah if you already have it on field, giving you more advantage. It is just one of the best cards that we have. I like the 2-2 ratio purely because if you can get them both in your hand going second, it lets you play mind games with your opponent. But yeah, that'll be a discussion for another time. Good card, definitely run at least 2 in my opinion, along with 2 of a Boudica. Another good go second tool is Arachnicamper. It's an extender. Yes, it locks you into plants and insects, but you'll either generate advantage off of Sarah again if it's already on the field. Otherwise, If your normal summon is about to be popped, say by an Omni Negate or Mirror Jade, you can summon this and you'll still be able to reach Sarah at the end of it. As long as you can get to Sarah. Additionally, it protects your back row if you go first. So, another one, and one that I also think is underrated, Alamaris. She's a combo starter. She's a beater. She combos with the aforementioned Garden. She triggers Sarah. There's just so much Alamaris can do. What you do is, let's say you detach 2 materials, revive something, trigger the revived monster's effect, then you can take it one step further. You can then link the 2 off for another monster, say SP Little Knight, or you can keep the weaker Traptrix monster if you need to go into Sarah, link it off into Sarah, and then overlay that for Typhon. And finally, one of the last going second options that we have is none other than Haltier. Pretty much it's another extender, and if you find a way to get it into the graveyard without using it, say off of Superpoly, you can then revive a Traptrix monster. But either way, it's another extender, it's a Sarah trigger, and it just lets you do more with the deck. But overall, in addition to that, our remaining strengths are, we have a flexible extra deck, which lets you run anything from generic links and XYZs to engines like Superpoly targets or Dogmatica. And we can play through most hand traps. So we shrug off common stuff like Ashen Bell, Droll. We only need to have 1 search go off, and Droll is meaningless. Might slow us down, but it doesn't stop us. And Nibiru, well, summon Rafflesia. Anyway, hand traps. As we know, one of the best ways to ensure safe play going second is to simply interrupt and cripple a foe's momentum before they get going. The more you deny them, the greater chance you have of normal summoning and getting to Sarah safely. In modern Yu-Gi-Oh, this is achieved with hand traps. The 2 questions you then have to ask yourself are whether you mix hand traps with other approaches like I do, such as Superpoly or Fenrir, or whether you decide just to go all in with hand traps. And the second one is, which hand traps do we take? Well, in a Traptrix deck, every player should always run Infinite Impermanence. It's good first or second, it's a Sarah trigger, can't be stopped by Called by the Grave, Thrust doesn't get advantage of it, and it's a blowout card if you go second. It's just good all round. And if you're not running it, I would be very worried. And the other one that I would consider mandatory in the current metagame is Ash Blossom. The Charmy cards, these things are everywhere. You've got the Canine package, the Shadol package. You've got cards that special summon from the deck. Ash stops all that and more. And in my opinion, you have to take it in today's game. So, these 2 run in pretty much every single deck you make. From there, we have the Charmies. Currently, the best ones are Fuawas, which I own. There's also Perulia, which I do not own, but I'll show you on screen. But Fuawas is basically max C. Your opponent special summons from the deck or extra deck, you get a draw. Really good if you're going second, probably better sided, but you can main it if you desire. Then there's stuff like Nibiru. I would definitely recommend this in the main if you're going an all-in hand trap approach. Your opponent summons 5 or more monsters. You can combo it with Imperm, Song, or even Veiler to ensure it safely goes off. But the board your opponent worked towards, gone. Got problems with decks that go into the graveyard? You can run stuff like Ghost Bell or older cards like Skullmeister. Bell hits the Draco Tail matchup, can stop Ray in the grave, deals with Shadow cards going off. Just really good in the current metagame at the moment, and I'll definitely recommend maining it if you're going the all-in approach. These are more side deck options, but also really good in the current metagame. Retaliating Sea and Dimensional Shifter. Though it's limited to 1, if you open this, it probably wins you the game. Basically, you get these to the field, or you activate Shifter, you're denying your opponents the graveyard, and even if this gets removed from the field, you then get the Surge Mantis off of it. Just really solid. And then the last one that I would actively consider taking is good old Droll. Cripple Searchers. Hits mostly rogue decks these days and stuff like Hero, but it still comes up and it's still useful, so probably more a side deck card, but if you just want to fill your deck out with hand traps, throw it in. And then we go to stuff that's not meta currently, but do come up occasionally. In a more link-heavy meta, or one that has a lot of targeting, you could opt for Phantasmi. It's a big body, gives you some draws, and it punishes decks like Yummy, believe it or not. But definitely worth considering if most decks are running links. Back when Malice was number 1, this was in everyone's side deck. Not so much anymore, but it's still something to consider. Also stops evenly matched. There's Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Pops field spells and continuous effects. You can normal summon it and use it as a quick effect on field. And it gets rid of annoying monsters. It's just an all-round useful hand trap. Lastly, we have the monster effect negates. They're not as good as Imperm, but Veiler's been useful since her release in 2011. And Ghost Mourner does burn damage. Damage if the monster that she negates leaves the field. So they do come up, and in some metagames, you just want to negate monster effects. As soon as they hit the field, that's what these do. And yeah, those are the hand traps that I would be considering at the moment. And that concludes our hand traps. Engines. Whether it's the metagame or player preference, another way to ensure Traptrix achieves its goals is via a complementary engine. Be it extenders to ensure you get to Sarah, or a means to break past a foe's board, as long as it's compact, as well as usable first or second, you can give it a go, I say. The 4 that I would recommend are Dominus, Rika, Kashtira, or Dogmatica. Starting off with the Dominus package, we have something that Traptrix players have always hand for. A hand trap engine that is all traps, that is not only usable first or second, it complements our entire archetype. If you go first, you simply set them like normal traps. And if you go second, you use them like hand traps. Song of the Dominators stops a monster effect. And if it's set, lets you search out any of the Dominus cards. Purge stops a search, and if it's set, pops the card that searched it. Whereas Spiral spins a card after your opponent uses something in the hand or graveyard. And if Sarah happens to be on the field or you need to pitch a trap off Haltier, they work. One of the best things to come out in recent years, and going forward, as more Dominus cards come out, it's only going to get stronger, I feel. It's not perfect though. It does lock you out of certain attributes in terms of effect, but doesn't stop you using Superpolymerization or Typhon, because you can still summon those cards. Sure, you won't get the draw off Garura, and Typhon can't spin, but you still get the body, which is what's important. And I'm looking forward to the next lot of Dominus cards. If you're after something more compact, because you're looking to use a lot of hand traps or tech cards, Rika is the way to go. Literally all you need in the main deck is Free Princess, along with a Streener in the side, and then your pick of either Teardrop the Weaker Queen for a quick effect tribute, or Sacred Tree Beast Hyperion for another negate. What the package offers is extenders, as well as negates in the graveyard if you happen to have Streener on board. Additionally, you can retrieve, say, a Dione or another Traptrix monster, and if you haven't used your field spell or your regular normal yet, you can then extend further. And if your opponent tries to negate your plays, simply activate Princess in your graveyard or hand, tribute Streener, and go into the desired card. And it's good first or second. First, you just extend, set up, get to Hyperion. Going second, you make your opponent play around it, negate it, and then you do your normal plays. Moving on to one of the larger packages, we have Kashtira. Most people associate this with just free Fenrir and maybe a random copy of Riseheart splashed in to decks, but the full package consists of also running a copy or two of Unicorn, Wraithosif, Birth, and if you have other field spells, Terraforming. It is a quite cumbersome package, taking up 9 deck slots, 10 if you run Theosis, but in an age of turn 0 plays, its ability to apply pressure as well as spam bodies is very valuable for control decks. If you want to put pressure on the opponent, summon Fenrir, they're forced to play around it. Unicorn can snipe cards out of your extra deck. A Riseheart is another body, be it a rank 4 like Rathlesia if you have a spare Traptrix, or potential rank 7 if you decide to overlay with one of those two. Wraithosif gets you a Surge, Birth protects you from effects and gives you another normal summon, and Terraforming synergizes with field spells as mentioned, so if you've already got this, you can just use that to search one of your gardens. Whether it's just breaking past your opponent's board or giving you additional bodies for Link and XYZ plays, it's quite a good package. And that brings us to the last package. Dogmatica, which is starting to show its age, but still worth mentioning because it is getting more support. The idea is your opponent stops your regular Traptrix plays, stops Sarah, it then gives you follow-up. The Dear Servant searches Ecclesia, which as cost sends an extra deck card, usually one of these options, depending on what you take. And then from there, you apply the effects as appropriate. So every package takes Natis, which is a pop. A lot of variants will take Granganel into Lulu, which gives you a negate. But if you're a bit more cash-strapped or want something a bit more basic, many will opt for Garura and Wind Pegasus ad Ignister instead for the draw and the spin. There's also Titaniclad, which nets you an additional search. Once you've finished your Nadir Servant into Graveyard Dump play, you summon Ecclesia, which then either nets you an Effect Veiler on a 2/5 body. You can even search Punishment, but that's been power crept by a recently released quick play spell, which I'll show you on screen. But yeah, so the main downside is you got to do it after your Traptrix plays. So if your Traptrix plays are stopped and then this is stopped, you're probably dead in your tracks. Additionally, it does use extra deck slots, so not perfect, and it can lock you out of the extra deck, which is one of Traptrix's key strengths. But as I said, compact, worthwhile, getting more support, so still worth considering. And that is the engines. Utility and text. Cards that, whether through board breaking, extending, or complementing what Traptrix already do, make the Archtype better able to cope going second. And starting off, we have Superpolymerization, a card that I constantly praise for being able to do all three of the. Its main targets are Garura and Madragon, since most boards generally tend to have cards of the same attribute. Additionally, they have useful effects, netting you a draw, and Madragon giving you targeting protection. In the current meta game, the targeting protection absolutely shuts down Yummy, which is one of the prominent archetypes. The only slight downside to Superpoly is its discard cost, but even that can be taken advantage of with cards like Haltier, Dionea, Garden, and Alamaris. And if you're running other tech cards or engines, you can even mitigate the cost with Fenrir and Rika. That's just how good it is. We then have the Thrust package. One of the big problems you'll run into going second is pre-established boards, which means 9 times out of 10, monster effects. Even going first, you'll hit hand traps like Ash Blossom. So that's where these come in. This punishes your opponent for hastily using their cards, allowing you to hit back. So say they negate your first summon, you would then activate this, and then if you're going first, you would set this, or a trap card, or if you're going second and they've got a monster on board, you add this to your hand, activate it, and you play. But because it's Traptrix, there's one other thing you can do. That's turn 1. And your Sarah has been negated. You've activated Thrust and you've set this. If you have a Mantis on the field, what you can then do is use its effect to bounce this to your hand. Then, because you don't have the set restriction, you can activate it and take a card from your opponent's hand or draw 2. Then we have Typhon. You simply run him in the extra deck. He takes 1 slot. Your opponent spams from the extra deck, and they've got a bunch of 3k bodies. You can shut the lot down, bounce a card. You pretty much summon him after the rest of your plays, or if you're able to get Sarah on the field safely, you can then follow up with him and then break the opponent's board through clever play. Really simple, effective card to use. We then have Fenrir and sometimes Riseheart. You don't have to run the full package to take advantage. Most people actually just run the Fenrir. Same idea as the full package. You summon Fenrir and you just put pressure on your opponent. Pressure, pressure, pressure. They have to play around this. Additionally, if you're running Superpoly, as mentioned earlier, the Fenrir you search can be pitched for discarded fodder. Its offensive presence that Traptrix otherwise lacks going second and an extender going first. We then come to evenly matched. Basically, your opponent's got a full board. You activate this. Unless they can specifically negate it, most of it's going to go. The problem is most boards these days will have at least one negate, so you need to have something like an imperm to go with it, or a song or way to bait out that negate first. If you do, you'll be breaking the board, then you can do your normal Traptrix plays. It's probably better off-sided, but even if you do decide to main it, if you happen to open it, you can pitch it off of Hold Tier to activate it, so there is Archtype synergy. And that wraps up our discussion. I hope this helps all Traptrix players with deck building and gameplay going forward. If anyone has any questions or tips for others, feel free to comment below. Always keen for more. And before I finish up, just want to give a few shout outs to Stake Stelio, Flame Kiwi, Twigs and local legends from the Traptrix Discord, along with Joshua Hole from Perth Pro Players and Alex from Locals. All of you guys have been of great help in regards to metagame discussion and just general tips. Additionally, I would like to give a shout out to Mangoes and Cream. He's a fellow YouTuber who assisted me with editing and made a thumbnail for my vid. Please check out his channel if you can. And with that, everyone's favourite Traptrix player is signing off. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you later.